Hi, community. I'm Stephen Dinelli, the concept art lead for Shroud of the Avatar. And first time here, thrilled to be doing it. I peeked in a couple of times, but you just saw my hands. It's trying to be creative. And I am ready for questions. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Oh my God, have you seen this keyboard? This thing's out of hand. Neon green. It's hard to look at. It is pretty cool though. I know my kid would love it. All right. And it's really noisy when you type. What do we got here? Let's see, at Darkblade, I think would be cool. Sweet if. And if you're wondering, yes, I hunt and peck. I didn't even see where my reply went. Let's see if it's up top here. No idea. Anyway, how about some more questions? Let's see what we got here. If I am qualified to answer any of these. Where are we? Wow. All right, a lot of discussion about gameplay. Not my realm of expertise, but I'm making sure Dippy Bird is dipping. And I'll talk a little bit about, where are we?
Stop the presses! Stop the presses!
Chris just walked in and said, "Stop the presses." What do you think that means?
I think the chat is not updating.
Ah, my chat isn't updating.
Your chat is not updating, so refresh that browser page.
Shift F4. Right?
Epic Mustache Man.
That's not me.
You are totally just looking like an artist.
Am I serious? What did I do?
Yeah, click that. No, not that. That little X, and then just click that little refresh there.
All right. Am I the only one who uses Firefox?
No, there's a lot of old guys that still use Firefox.
What are you using, Chrome?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this should be at the bottom of the list.
Yep.
Where are we?
You probably want to click the scroll button off. You can drag that little corner and drag it down so you can make your chat window bigger.
Excellent.
And then you can scroll back up. Stephen, what artist are you driving? So now you're starting to get some questions. So now you can, like,
right.
This will keep it from scrolling as people type and you losing messages, and then you can click the arrow button down.
Oh, look at that. Imposter Chris.
That's me calling you out as an imposter.
Thank you. Obviously not updating. All right. Robert, what artists are you deriving some inspiration from for the art direction? That's a really good question. So when I sit down with Bob Krooksky, who is our environment art lead, we work in the same office, so we talk a lot about the art and where to go with the direction. And our conversations with Richard and Tracy and Chris and Dallas, we don't talk artists to this point. And I know personally for me, when I think about medieval fantasy, and one of the things that we really want to do is create art that Ultima players are really excited about. And it's been many years since that's happened, since an Ultima game has been created, and we want to do something that it harkens back to where it's at, but we also want to bring it up to a contemporary level. So artist-wise, those discussions haven't happened, but they certainly happen with Bob and I. And I know one of our inspirations is Keith Parkinson, bless his heart. He was an early TSR artist and went on to join Sigil, created the Guardians card game. A lot of his work is just some wonderful medieval fantasy. Some other artists that are inspiration. I know personally for me, even though there isn't much in the game that's like his work, Frank Frazetta has always been an inspiration to me. Bless him also, since he's passed. Yeah, so that, I hope that answers your question. It's like I certainly look to different artists for my own personal inspiration, but when we're talking about Shroud, we're not really talking about specific artists and what they've done. We talk about the things that we want to feel. We want a sense of epicness, of grandeur in the game. We want things to be beautiful and intimidating and unnerving and wonderful. We want to evoke emotion when we talk about the art direction. So even though I personally find inspiration in different artists, so far our conversations have really been about what do we want the players to experience emotionally. Which answers the next question from Highguard. Where do you get your inspiration for the art? Certainly those artists, I draw a lot from literature. I became a paperback junkie when I was 19 and just a voracious reader for many, many years. And in the late 90s, even tried my hat at being a paperback cover artist. Did a couple of books, but the freelance lifestyle, working alone, is really hard for me because I'm very much an extrovert and love to work with people. So the game industry is ideal for that. I love to tell stories with art, and in the development of a game, you're brainstorming with a lot of people, you're creating the concepts, you're helping them get their ideas out on paper, you're unleashing this creativity in other people, and that's really exciting for me. And then at a certain point, you go into 3D and you start building these objects, you create materials on them, you get them to look real or stylized, whatever projects you're working on, and then you put them in the game. I do level design, layout, and then lighting and polish, and then that just final pass to really make it all come together. So books is another inspiration. Certainly films. I know Fellowship of the Ring is probably is in my top 5 favorite films. It's the kind of thing, you know, when I was growing up, there was Conan the Barbarian and there was Dragon Slayer, and that was it for fantasy films. So, you know, 20 years later, we get Fellowship of the Ring. It was really, really inspirational. So some of just the big beats, those elements that they have in the film, that sense of awe that Jackson was able to capture, I really like. Stephen, okay, so this is from Iron Man 2008. Stephen, do you cringe when you see the horrible art in the prototype? Yes, I do. I hope I don't get in trouble for that, but I do cringe. When we first started talking about that, most recently I was the art director for Starhawk, which is a PS3 exclusive title. And it's very next generation, cutting edge, you know, 500,000+ triangles in the environment, multiple material passes. It's a beautiful game. And so when we first put together the prototype, visually it's like, oh man. Now, as an artist, it makes me cringe. As a game developer, it makes me absolutely elated. So one of the biggest challenges in game development is figuring out your tech and getting your game design working, making the game fun. This is a huge step. A game never fails or never ships because there's a problem with the art. It's like someone might not like the art, or the art isn't to the level that you wanted. The game fails because of lack of tech or good game design. So when I look at the prototype artistically, yes, I cringe. As a professional, dude, I'm absolutely thrilled. We have gameplay. We have like multiple playable missions, dialogues, interactions with characters. Ooh, you know, I'm probably saying too much. God, I just thought about that. I really like to run at the mouth. So yes, artistically, not thrilled about it. Professionally, really thrilled. It's wonderful that we've proved out all this gameplay, that we know the tech. We can make the game. Now it's a matter of like coming up with the vision and making it pretty, and we're in the process of doing that. So that's really cool. Will there be more Tesla artwork? That's a good question. I don't know about that. So one of the things that I'm really enjoying about the whole Kickstarter process is working with the community. And when we are in the process of exploring the direction and where we're going to go with the game visually, that is going to be based on like what some of the gameplay is. So gameplay might include some type of magic resource or some type of electromagnetic resource or as a power source, but I don't know where that's going to go. The community has been very vocal in their desire for a traditional medieval fantasy, and we're responding to that. So that part's really cool. Simple answer is I don't know, yet to be determined. Let's see. This is my keyboard. Chris, what do you reckon? All right. Hopefully Chris is looking at this also. Wow, that's weird. How do you use that? As I said, I'm kind of a hunt and peck, so that would be tough. You don't have to worry about the numbers wearing off. What he had is a link to a photograph of a keyboard where the numbers and letters are actually on the side of the keys and not the top of the keys. All right, we want to see some state-of-the-art houses prototype. If you mean the houses, so initially, and I think it's on the Kickstarter page, we did an initial pass of like what the housing was like, and then I shifted direction to big splash images, emotional impact kind of things. So yes, getting back to what the houses look like for art on the outside and inside is on the list and going to be done. It's just a little further down the road, that's all. At Steven, what's your favorite art piece for the game so far? I'm going to go with the lava field piece. I'm really excited about that. We started brainstorming more.
What's about that?
Dude, you're messing with my flow. Oh, is it?
He rebooted the chat server.
Yeah.
For those people who see the chat freeze up and you don't get any updates for a while, it's because Epic Mustache Man is making some changes to the chat server, and he had to restart it, which locks up chat. So.
Lovely. Okay,
So you can click the scroll to turn off scroll again if you want to find a spot.
Thank you.
But anyways, there are more hard questions coming in for you.
Excellent. I got to find my way back here, so please bear with me. Okay, let's see. Chris, when will the new art by Steven get posted to the site? We're posting a couple per week. I think we've got another post today. Yes, actually, if you watch the team hangout on Google last night, I actually showed the next piece, and that is it's probably getting posted right now, and you should see it in the next hour or two. And I'm already hard at work on a piece after that. Actually, there's a couple pieces. I have a laundry list of really cool epic type environments to concept. So it's I'm painting like a madman. Okay, so Smack, the one you showed yesterday on the Google Hangout? Yes, exactly. Okay, thank you. You are quite welcome. Robert, awesome response. Thanks for your insight. Robert, my pleasure. Please keep the questions coming. Warfire, I'll have to have a look at the art that I tend to get a little behind. If you go to the SOTA website, shroudoftheavatar.com, and go to the media tab, everything gets posted there, and it's actually the full-size image. I think it's like 1900 pixels wide, so you can use it as a desktop. Let's see. Quickstar Dragon, what is your favorite Nove or series of novels? Okay, prior to 98, I'm going to go with the Belgariad, David Eddings' first series of books, Pawn of Prophecy. I read those in my late teens, and the way he took you on the journey from this little farm boy who was nothing, ultimately to become a man who had to kill a god, it's a fascinating story. I love the magic. I loved everything about it. And then I read Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones it's a grown-up fantasy, as you probably all know. I'm sure that just about everyone has read it. I threw the book twice across the room because I was so emotionally invested. And I met George Martin at, I think it was Worldcon in Baltimore in '99. And when I talked to him, I said, no matter what you do, Jaime Lannister has to die. So I'm going to go with Game of Thrones now, but prior to that, it's the Belgariad. And I've always had a soft spot for that since I was a kid. And then behind that, definitely Lord of the Rings. Let's see, Robert, Sean Bean makes the... Yes, I agree. Actually, Boromir is one of my favorite characters. I love the story arc of a good man who loses his way and then redeems himself by putting the people he cares about before him. So yes, I completely agree. I'm a huge fan of Viggo Mortensen too. You may or may not know this, but Viggo was going to turn down the role, and his son had just finished reading Lord of the Rings and begged him to take the job, even though he'd be away from family for 18 months, and that's why he did it. I thought that was really cool. All right, this is from IT Palg. Is it just me, or does anyone else get a Will Wheaton vibe from his face? Thank you, that's flattering. I usually get Ed Norton. My understanding is that Ed Norton is from Austin, and about every other week, people ask me, or if I'm Ed Norton, or that I look like Ed Norton. A friend of mine's younger brother came into the studio when I was working on Starhawk, and he said I looked just like Robert Downey Jr. He's like, Jonathan, man, you realize you're working with Tony Stark? That was definitely the most flattering. Will Wheaton, though. Will Wheaton's got a bit of a baby face, and actually that's why I have the goatee, because if I shave, I have a baby face too. All right, is this game going to have mounts? There's definitely going to be horses in there. That is a game design question. I don't know if you're going to be riding or not riding, so you'll have to save that for one of the designers. Let's see here. That was from Strife. This next question is from Bubonic. Are you guys using LOD texture switching to increase optimization? And if so, how are you handling the switch between higher and low resolution? Oh, and Dragger Slayer was awesome. Yes, I love the movie. Are we using LOD texture switching? So that's honestly TBD. So historically, honestly, since I've been in the industry, I've always used some type of LOD texture technology. For those of you that don't know what that is, that means if you're looking at a group of rocks in the distance, you'll see what's called a color map, which is the actual texture, normal map, which fakes a high visual level of geometry, and it's just it's actually kind of this purple looking texture. Then a specular map that reflects the light the way you want the surface, and then a mask, so you can have different types of those variations. So when you're far away, you just see the basic ones, and then as you get closer, you have an LOD texture kick in. So that larger texture you saw at a distance starts to fade away, and then the textures that you see when you get closer, like it may be a moss-covered rock with lichen and maybe some plants on it, you have a mask that's just black and white image, and as you get closer, the positive or negative brings in the detail of that. So that rock you saw at a distance, you get up close, it's super high fidelity. If you play any Skyrim, you can see that in there, and you just, as an artist, I spend a lot of time playing games looking at that because it's crucial. So yes, we will have some type of technology. The specifics of it, Chris is better suited to answer that question. I bet he just did. See, oh my gosh, he's hating on my programmer. He loves it, man. No worries. From Warfire, ooh, I approve very much. Don't worry, Chris. Okay, Iron Man 2008. See, my mean question was actually a good one. Yes, it was excellent. Pyro, programmer art. That's oxymoronic for what I found in practice. Pyro, programmer art equals clean code. Yes, it does. It really does. No argument there. Okay, this is from Cool Phoenix at Steven. What is your favorite art piece for the game so far? And if you know, what is Richard's favorite piece? I don't know what Richard's favorite piece is. I know he's really loving everything that we've been doing, and I haven't asked him. It's like everything is just, yes, this works, this doesn't. And he sees all the early sketches, and we brainstorm, and somewhere, maybe it's on the Soda site, I've actually put together GIFs of some of the concept art, so you can actually see every stage of that. I might be misspeaking about that, but that's something we'll definitely get up there. So those of you that are interested, you can definitely see it. My favorite piece is, and I might have answered this a little earlier, sorry if I'm repeating myself, is the lava field piece with the giant statue, and maybe I didn't go into detail. We came up with the story of like an ancient culture that somehow tapped the power of the volcano, kind of Atlantis inspired. They fell into ruin. Their symbol was the succubus. So you've got a lot of ruins, the dangerous lava fields, resources. There has to be a reason for the player to go there, so maybe you need to go there for crafting resources. And as I was working on it, like the initial sketches were actually very Garden of Eden inspired. It was Eve and the serpent that I thought was visually really cool. So early in the process, it's just a woman's statue with some kind of lava type snake monster. And honestly, it wasn't epic enough, and it wasn't, dangerous enough. So Richard recommended a succubus or something like that. I thought succubus, perfect. We'll get some horns on her, some wings. We can have the broken wings in the lava, and that lava snake became more of some type of lizard dragon creature. So yeah, the lava field piece is my favorite so far. All right, at Chris, programmer art always gets some hate, and that's from Ombre. Acrylic 300, have you ever given a tattoo? No, I'm not a tattoo artist. I have drawn tattoos. I have a cousin who's actually in Afghanistan right now with the 361st PSYOPs. And I did his tattoo from when he was in Iraq, and I want to say 03, 04. And I've got a friend that I grew up from high school. I did a tattoo from him. So I don't do it, but occasionally people have asked me for it. And at some point, oh God, I have my phone. So we're talking about ink. I've got an idea of what I want to do. And this will go back, show you a little bit about me and my inspiration. So I grew up as a Frank Frazetta fan, and I'm still a Frank Frazetta fan. So this is actually what I'm going to get on my back. Let's see if I can block the light on that. There we go. So that's Frazetta's Death Dealer, and it was my inspiration for fantasy art. I was in Weymouth, Massachusetts, 8 years old, hanging out with my grandparents at a mall, and wandered into a head shop, and there's this beautiful puzzle with the Death Dealer on it, and I tried to convince my grandmother to buy it. She had nothing with it, but that image has been with me for a long time. Okay, Chris Succubi and Lava Valley stuff. IT Paug. Will the game engine and UI support proper field of view for 3 monitor surround Eyefinity? I have no idea. That's Chris, and Chris says yes. Okay, Hot 62870 with world map where we can use to travel. I don't see a lot of point and mounts. Good point. Again, that's a game designer question. As we develop the game, things will be evolving and improving all the way, and it might. God, I don't want to speak to that. So let's definitely save that for one of the designers. Okay, Warfire. Sounds like you could have a lot of particle effects there. Do you think this will affect render times and game frame per second? Yes. It does affect. When you're building out a game, you have to consider poly count, you have to consider your engine, your overdraw issues, and that's when, like, if you look at a scene and you see a whole bunch of images stacked, or a whole bunch of objects stacked on top of each other, and they're not culling, like the first one says, don't draw anything behind me, you can have overdraw issues, way too many triangles, particle effects, all of that. So yes, it all affects, but we will pick a base PC model and we'll build the game for that. And then if you've got a faster PC, you're probably going to have an adjustment where you can crank everything up. But again, I can't speak to that. That's definitely a Chris question for sure. Iron Man 2008, at Chris, is Steven the one I have to pester about getting my tower home on my city lot? Iron Man, I am with you. I don't want just a house. I actually want a tower or some type of keep shape. So when we get to the point of designing houses, yeah, I'm going to pitch out not just houses, but like towers and keeps for sure. I'm with you on that one. All right, Pyro. At H2O62870, but roleplay elements when you're not on world map, I hope they do have them, if only for that reason, and because taming, I like having a purpose other than combat. I agree with you, Pyro. From Highguard, hey, yeah, the lava field is great. Thank you, I appreciate it. Let's see, at Chris, how close is the game going to look like concept art at this point? Chris, this game is going to look exactly like the concept art. We're going to get it as close to as possible to the art for sure. So I have 13 years of concept production and management experience. Chris is amazing with the tech. It's just a matter of like drawing it, building it, getting in the game, and honestly, the key thing is going to be making sure it plays fun. That's definitely the most important thing. Okay. Wow, Warfire. Is he literally reading each question? Yes, I am. And that's because having done interviews and stuff, not everyone is reading the questions or paying attention also. So I've just found it courteous to read it back for those who aren't reading along with me, just to let them know what the question is. Where are we? Okay, awesome. Let's see. From Lord Viator, wasn't there a second image you were planning on showing in the Hangout last night? No, actually, that was just it. There's certainly more images to show, but we're rolling things out at a very planned pace. At Steven, who's your favorite classical artist? By the way, David Eddings' stuff was awesome. Yes. Favorite classical artist is going to be John Singer Sargent. I've been very lucky in that I've seen him, not him, I've seen his work in Rhode Island, and then he had a touring show that came to Seattle when I was living there a few years ago. And yes, I love Sargent. He is a huge inspiration. I don't paint very much like him, but I'm going to spend hours looking at his paintings. They are absolutely just beautiful. I've seen things where he can literally paint a face with maybe 6 or 7 strokes. It's incredible. All right, I've got 3 more minutes, so let's see here. Lone Stranger. As a kid, I loved Lloyd Alexander's Prydain Chronicles. I actually haven't read those, but I can put them on the list. I love reading. All right, response from Chris. Response from H2620. Distorted like the span. Let's see, one more question here. That's actually how the Oculus Rift works. Flat display lens. Okay. Yes, Smack sent a picture of Edward Norton. Oh, man. You're going to love this. I just closed. Oh, boy. So I just closed the browser. Hang on a second. Here's a little Chrome icon. Smack. From that same photo shoot, I have actually used that picture on my Facebook page as me. And, okay, serious. Where is this thing? Boy, probably the last thing I want to add is when the Avengers came out, Tony Stark's wearing a Black Sabbath t-shirt. Black Sabbath's my favorite band, so I literally was inundated with like Facebook postings saying, dude, have you seen the Avengers? You're Tony Stark. So Tony Stark or Robert Downey Jr., Ed Norton, I'm like their love child. That's a weird way to end. I'm Stephen Dinelli, concept art lead for Shroud of the Avatar. I've had a great time talking with you all, and I'm doing this again tomorrow. I'm actually supposed to be on about 11 o'clock, but I had a little bit of issues that I had to address this morning, so I'm going to shoot for 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. I hope you'll join me again, and have a great afternoon. And I'm going to leave you with, let's see if we can get this. There we go. Dippy Bird. All right. Bye, guys.